What's going on, guys? Good to see y'all all again. Just hit 100 subscribers. That's a pretty cool little mark. But I wanted to bring this kit to y'all real quick. So I reached out to you guys to see what I could do for my next build, since I hadn't done one in so long. And a lot of ideas got thrown out, but I'm going to show you this kit as a segue into that. So I picked up this Mod Rod Boss Roadster by AMT. I picked it up because, as you can see, it's actually two complete kits in one. So I wanted to do exactly what you see on the case cover here, and that was to build one classic and one hot rod. This is the most infuriating kit I have ever come across. This thing sucks. It is molded horribly. It's molded in yellow. All the parts are molded in yellow with the exception of the chrome tree and the clear tree. So it just took a ton of work. All the parts were warped. It was just a nightmare, and I ended up having to heavily modify a lot of the pieces just so they would fit together, heating them up and twisting them back into shape, and it was just gross. So I can't recommend this kit, not a single bit, but I toughed through it, and I built the classic one first. So that's the first one I'm going to show you, and it's this guy here. So I built it to specifications you would actually see when the car was new, and I modeled it after a car that I kind of just did some Google image searches and found a Model A that I really liked that was in this paint scheme with this type of top. And it just turned out really, really well. I really like this. I was able to fully and exactly replicate the car in the picture to every part, which was really neat. Turned out really, really well. But again, that was with heating all of these fenders up to get them back in shape, and just, I mean, it's just a ton of work. And of course, everything is very, very thin and delicate, so not a build for the inexperienced at all. Of course, the tires didn't come white walled, so I had to take care of that too. It didn't turn out too bad, but like I said, I absolutely cannot recommend this. But here's the real problem. So when I went to build the hot rod, I ended up losing some of the grill components, which made it to where I can't mount the headlights. All of this entire front section I somehow managed to lose. I can't find it anywhere. So the plan was to build a hot rod or rat rod pickup truck. And again, this is extremely heavily modified just to get it to work. So pull some of this apart. And I realized it about halfway through the build, and so I just stopped building it. But just to show you what I was going after, I was going to do the whole cloth seat rat rod look with the rusted components and the super weathered and rusted paint and all that good stuff. And unfortunately, I lost some pieces, so I wasn't able to complete this. Even parts of the chassis, originally these had fender flares that went out, and I had to cut all that off, and because I just couldn't get it back into shape, and had to heat this up and sand it down just to have something to mount the cab of the car to. So it was just, the whole kit's just gross. But maybe maybe I can do something else with this. So I'm going to look on the lighter side here. So when I very first started building these, the very first one that I ever built was a 68 Dodge Charger, and this thing just you can obviously tell it's my first one because there are so many mistakes on this thing, and now that I've gotten a little bit more experienced, I can kind of take care of some of these things. So just to show you what I'm talking about, so on the engine compartment, the decals are all screwed up. I didn't get the level of detail I would have preferred in there. If you look at the paint for the chrome, is just all messed up everywhere. There's drips in the clear coat. It's just, the whole thing's just in bad shape. There's burns in the paint from the clear coat. So I decided that I'm going to go ahead and do something else with this. So this idea actually came from a friend of mine. I'm going to take this Charger and recycle it. So I'm going to strip it back down, strip all the parts off of it, and I'm going to build a kind of post-apocalyptic vehicle using the parts from this kind of failed attempt at this rat rod. So these rusted fuel tanks, I'm going to remove them. These Cadillac tail lights, I'm going to take them off and try and utilize as many parts of this build as I can. And I'm going to redo the seats in this fabric, kind of cover them up and try and do a little bit of beadwork on the seats like you would have seen in an old car, just things that they would have thrown together to make the car work again. Going to utilize this huge engine, which just so happens to be a Dodge engine that came in the Ford kit. So I don't know why that happened, but here it is. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm also going to use the wheels and tires off of this that came out really nicely. So I'm going to strip those off and give the Charger a nice hard rake. And just completely repaint it. I'm thinking about doing a flat black with some hand painted flames on there, and just really make this thing look gnarly. So that's my plan for the next video. If you do plan on picking up this kit, you can try and go for it. It was fairly cheap. Hopefully you had better luck than I did with it. It was just a nightmare, really. But maybe it'll turn into kind of a blessing in disguise here. So I'll give y'all update videos as we go along. And once again, thanks again for those 100 subscriptions. We'll see you in the next one.